welcome to today's webinar. Today's Business as Unusual, which is a webinar we are hosting every single Friday at 11 a.m. and it's 11:01. So welcome everyone. We're going to wait a couple minutes here just so we can get some participants coming in. I see that number is quickly increasing. So give us 2 or 3 minutes here and we'll start quickly with our presentations. Para alguien que necesite asistencia en español, por favor, de notificarlo lo antes posible, pueden dar nos pueden dar la información o pueden dar en el chat, en la parte inferior de la pantalla está el chat, nos puede avisar ahí que necesita asistencia en español si lo necesita. También en el Q&A, que es el Question and Answer, también pueden poner su información ahí, dejarnos saber de que necesitas asistencia en español si es que lo necesita. Y en confianza que estamos en familia. Y bienvenidos a todos. Okay, let's give it here one more minute, guys, as people log in. Welcome, welcome. We're about to start. Okay. MS, buen día, asistencia en español. Usted entiende muy bien en inglés. Si le falta algo, un punto que necesita asistencia, me lo avisas y te lo traduzco de inmediato. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right, so it's 11:03. Let's get this going. Welcome, everyone, once again for coming into this webinar, this Business as Unusual that we've been putting together every single Friday at 11 a.m. We are the Hispanic Business Center, a nonprofit organization in the heart of the Hispanic Village, West 25th in Clark. And we are here to serve our business, our entrepreneurs, in whatever capacity we can, right? We are here to help you develop and to help you form and move forward and progress. And so all of our services are free. We are an SBDC, Small Business Development Center. I don't think I said that in the beginning. We will share all of our information. You should have all our information if you logged into this webinar already, but we will reshare as much as we can our information. We want to start quickly because there's a lot to cover and we have two other presenters. Once again, I want to say this en español, so give me a second here. Si alguien necesita asistencia en español, por favor, indíquelo. Y le vamos a hacer todo lo posible para poder darle la información en español o traducir como podamos. Esta presentación sí se va a repetir el miércoles que viene en español. Así que si no captó algo hoy, para el miércoles lo vas a tener en español o lo vamos a presentar el miércoles en español a las 5 de la tarde. A las 5 de la tarde en este mismo canal, ¿no? Por Zoom. So I want to present very quickly here our first presenter, Jasmine Dixon from ECDI. First off, Jasmine, thank you so much for coming in and giving us your knowledge, sharing your knowledge with us. And thank you for being such a valuable asset to our community. So Jasmine.
Thank you for having me, Randy. Today I'm actually here to talk about KIVA, which is a program that is ran through ECDI. KIVA is actually a global organization. People may have heard of it in different terms from different people all around the world. But we have a market here in Cleveland, and ECDI just happens to be the hub. So I am the manager of that program, and I'm here to encourage anyone who is looking for additional funding to utilize this resource, because just for a quick snapshot, is 0% interest loan. Right now, because of the COVID crisis, they have positioned this product to extend their repayment. So basically, you can have up to 6 months to repay your loan on top of the 0% interest right now. And that's for anyone who applies. It doesn't matter if they are doing it specifically because they have a need due to COVID, or if they're just getting started, whatever it might be. So I do have some information I want to share, just for, especially for those who are not 100% familiar with KIVA. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up here. First of all, here's my information, okay? And actually, for KIVA specifically, I use a separate mailbox, and so that would be cleveland@local.kiva.org. And just to kind of give you guys an idea of what KIVA is, it was established in 2005. It was the world's first personal microlending website. It enables everyday people to pull small lending contributions to provide financial access to entrepreneurs across the globe. So basically, it is a crowdfunding platform for individuals, but it's in the form of lending. So you're asking individuals first within your own network, and then it's open to people all around the world to contribute to your campaign. And so it works in a similar sense of crowdfunding, in that you're getting this crowd together digitally and you're fundraising digitally, but it's still a loan that you do have to repay back. We like to think of KIVA as being the first step for people up the capital ladder, and we hope that by enabling them to have the funds with KIVA to start their business or to assist them in their business, then they're able to seek additional funding, whether it be through ECDI or organizations like HFLA, which you guys will hear about right after I'm done. And then obviously grow into being able to position themselves to go to a bank. This just tells you a little bit about how KIVA differs from your typical crowdfunding platform. Our success rate is about 95%. Every person that usually goes onto this platform and utilizes it is funded 95% of the time. And so it's just been a phenomenal tool for many of our local businesses. So just to kind of give you a deeper idea of the loan program, the process is you will submit an application. Application is going to ask you about your personal story. It's going to ask you about your business. It's going to offer, it's going to ask you to create a picture that shows you engaged in your business. And then you're going to go through a review stage where myself and some of our other individuals in our back office review your application to make sure that you are ready to get posted to the website. Once you are posted, you go through a private fundraising, which can be a max of about 15 days. Within that private fundraising phase, you are required to get anywhere from 5 to 25 people to lend $25 at the very minimum to you. Right now, that can be difficult for some people, but I'm asking you to really dig your heels in and get in front of people and tell them your need and tell them, you know, how your business impacts the community. Because once you get past that layer, that 5 to 25 people within your own network, so your friends, your families, your customers, then you're open up to a public platform where you have 30 days for people all around the world to contribute money to your campaign. And that's where people usually really get funded. So we can get you past private stage and get you to public, then you're pretty golden. A lot of people have been, you know, just coming up with people in their head before they even sit down and talk to them, have their list of 25 people. I recommend if the minimum that you have to do is 25, put 35 on your list just to be safe. Once you go through the private fundraising and you go through the public fundraising and you get 100% funded, because the goal is to get fully funded. If you don't get fully funded, unfortunately, you don't get the loan. But once you are fully funded, then you start to go through the repayment process. You do have to have a PayPal account. The payments typically start the next month. However, right now, because of COVID-19, if you need more time to start your payments, then we can push it out, like I said, up to 6 months. Our loans go up to $10,000, and for a $10,000 loan, you're looking at a 36-month term. So this is the process that the borrower will go through in order to go from application to fully funded, starting to repay back their loan. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of some of the loan sizes and how they're broken up, it just depends on how long there are different eligibility requirements that determine whether or not you get from 1,000 to 3,000, or whether you're approved from 35 to 6,000 or 65 to 10,000. So that's something that will be determined when you actually apply. Now, one thing I do want to tell you that has changed, in addition to giving individuals up to 6 months to repay their loans, they've also increased the max amount on the platform from 10,000 to 15,000. So now you actually can access $15,000 in capital as opposed to the $10,000, and including with the grace period. If you would like to apply or you have other questions about the KIVA program, just go to kiva.org /borrow, and this is where you can actually start the application. Don't be intimidated by the application process. They actually make it very easy for you to ask you just typical questions. You would go in there and apply. If you are applying within the Cleveland area or surrounding neighborhoods, the minute you start your application, I can see it. So I would just ask that you go through the process, answer the questions to the best of your ability, then submit it. Once you submit it, then I'll go in there and review, and I'll communicate with you so that you know what maybe needs to be changed in order to get you to the next stage, which is getting posted to the platform. As far as determining your eligibility for KIVA, you have to be over 18 years of age. You must be using a loan specifically for your business. Your business has to be based in the US. And then there are certain businesses that you cannot be engaged in to qualify. And then currently you cannot be in a foreclosure bankruptcy. And that's just currently, not to say if you've had one and it's been discharged, that's fine. You just can't currently be in the middle of one. Now, just kind of give you guys a quick idea about the borrower process once you are from the actual website standpoint. Just this is some of the things some of the things that you would see. So this is an actual typical profile. Someone has, obviously this is a person who has a restaurant or something where they cook of some sort, and you see their story, you see how much they're asking for, you see what they need the funds for, and you can see how many people have actually contribute to their campaign. So this is where you would keep up with who is actually going in to contribute to your campaign. So this is in a private fundraising period. Then once you get into public fundraising period, it's now telling you how much you have still to gather in order to get fully funded. So this person is only 37% funded, and they have 24 days left, which is a nice chunk of time. Sometimes we have people get funded, and I've had people during this COVID-19 crisis get funded in a day. So it's been a very good tool. And then once you're fully funded, it tells you you're fully funded, you're ready to go. As you see at the bottom, it tells you about your loan, your length, how long you have to pay it back, your repayment schedule, all that good information. And you start your actual payment plan. And just remember, you do have to set up a PayPal account in order to do that, in order to collect the funds, and then also to set up your repayments. That's it. It's a very simple process. A lot of people have been able to benefit from this. I recommend everyone look into this. I can't guarantee how much you will qualify for until you apply. Don't get intimidated by the fact that there is fundraising involved in this. I've seen so many people be able to utilize this program and get the funding that they need to start or grow their business.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. At this point, is there any quick questions for Jasmine and KIVA? You can go on to your chat or Q&A. Okay, I don't see anything at the moment. All right, so quickly here, we're gonna go over to Katie. And if you still have a question for Jasmine, make sure to add it to the Q&A on the bottom of your screen. And we'll make sure to have Jasmine address those quickly. Now we're gonna go over to Katie, and same thing goes for Katie. So if you have a question, I should have done this at the top of this webinar. If you have questions for Jasmine or for Katie, make sure you put them on the Q&A. We have a question here. How long does the typical KIVA process take? Thank you, Nick.
So the max time frame that they give you 15 days once you're in private fundraising to get up to that 5 to 25 people. They give you 15 days for that. Once you hit that mark, then you have 30 days on the public platform to get to fully funded. So you are limited as to the max time. But like I said, I've seen people fly in that process and get funded in a day, get funded in a week. So it just depends. But you do have a max of, I would say, from private to getting fully funded, it's 45 days to be the max.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. All right. That's all we have at the moment. If you still have any other questions, feel free to attach them to the Q&A, and we will make sure to answer those as quickly as possible. Now we're going to have Katie first from the Hebrew Free Loan Association, HFLA. Katie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming in. Me and Katie go back some time. And so I love this young lady and her family. But thanks, Katie. Come on in and share with us, please.
Thanks so much for having me today. I will keep my presentation super brief, and I think I forgot to put my contact information, so I will tell you at the end. But please feel free to throw any questions into the Q&A or follow up with me afterwards. I'm happy to answer anything. So today, I'm not going to talk about our regular loan process, but only our COVID-19 emergency response loans, because that seems to be the pressing issue right now. Maria, you can flip to the next slide for me. There we go. So we're really just doing two types of COVID-19 response loans. The first one is similar to like our standard loan, which is basically a personal loan. And these are small dollar. We're doing them up to $1,500 for people that qualify. And, these can really be used for anything. In normal circumstances, if you apply for a loan with us, a standard loan, we would apply those payments. We would give the checks to where it needs to go. So if you came to me and said, oh, I need to pay my rent, I would write a check to your landlord. Right now, we're just writing $1,500 to you as the borrower so that you can use it as you see fit. The biggest thing is that a lot of people have lost wages. That's true for business owners. That's true for people that are working in affected fields that are non-essential workers. So these can be used to replace your lost wages, pay for food, pay for your gas bill, whatever needs to be done. They can be used to pay for specific COVID-19 related medical expenses, or to pay for private childcare for those workers that are essential that may not have had childcare expenses in the past due to children being in school, but now are paying babysitters and other people to come into their home. For these, you do not need to get out of here. You do not need a guarantor to apply, which is another deviation from our normal application process. Although I will warn people, like if your credit is very poor, if you have a lot of things in collections, if a lot of your bills are past due prior to COVID-19, you may want to think about, having someone who would be willing to be a guarantor if we come back and say we just can't do this loan without one. For the business loans, the COVID-19 business loans, these are for businesses that have been in business for at least 12 months. So if you don't fit that qualification as a business owner, you could go the route of doing the standard loan just to cover your own lost wages. But for these business loans, these will require that you've been in business for 12 months. You will have to do an interview, which is going to be virtual, of course, either through Zoom or by phone, with an HFLA board member. And the biggest thing that I'm telling people is that you need to have a plan for how you will recover, or at least, have given that some thought so you can articulate that to them. If you come in and, you can't really explain how you think your business will be affected by this, what your numbers may look like at the end of the year, and what you need to do to kind of get back on track, you may not get approved. So certainly have given that some thought before, applying and speaking to our volunteers or board members. For the business loans, anybody who owns over 20% of the business would apply as a guarantor. We always make our business loans to the business, and then you as an owner or whoever your co-owner is would sign on as a guarantor and guarantee the loan. What we have done specifically because of the pandemic is to make everything touch-free. So our applications, typically our business borrowers email those in, but we're asking, of course, that you email applications in. If you cannot access a computer, we can certainly mail it to you. Just know that it will take a bit longer. We do all of those interviews, as I said, through the phone or through Zoom. And then if you're approved, we are now using DocuSign, so you can sign your actual loan documents through DocuSign, and then we will have our bank issue a check directly to you. So you don't have to come into the office, you don't need to go find a notary. We're able to do all of this now touch-free, which is great. And the time process is pretty quick. We're prioritizing all of these loans now. For the standard loans, we can review those typically within 1 to 2 business days if they're complete. For the business loans, I would say, usually within 4 to 5 business days, you'll have an answer as to whether or not you're approved. If the loan application is not complete, of course, that takes longer. But if you give us everything that we're asking for, you do your interview, you should have an answer, within those 4 to 5 business days. And then our bank, it's PNC, and they usually say 3 to 5 days to issue a check. So, you could have a check within 2 weeks of applying. And then on the next screen, I've just got our website, interestfree.org. I forgot to put my contact, which I should have. It's Katie at interestfree.org, Katie, K-A-T as in Tom, Y, at interestfree.org. Our website now, you can translate to Spanish. There's a little button in the bottom corner. And we do have the standard loan emergency application in Spanish. I'm working on getting all the others translated. So hopefully next week that will be up as well.
Great, Katie. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for Katie? All right, we have nothing coming in, but like I said previously, if you have any questions, feel free to send us the question through Q&A, or you can email me or email HBC, and we will make sure to get that back to you. And we do have a question from Jill. For the business loan, do you have to provide any W-2 information?
Yes. So we always ask for your tax return. We understand that because 2019 has been extended to July as the filing deadline, you may not have done that yet. So you could give us your old tax information from 2018. And then I think we'll ask for your year-to-date or your year-end summary for 2019. So that we would kind of do in lieu of that. I forgot to also mention, all of our loans are interest-free. That was probably important. And what we're doing right now is we're deferring payments for 2 months. When those do start, they will be $100 a month for the standard loan applicants for 15 months. For the business loans, we're putting them on a funky 27-month term. So your first 4 payments will be $100. And then after that, they'll go up to $200 to get you paid off within those 27 months.
Fantastic. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
All right. Jasmine, Katie, thank you so much for your time and bringing us valuable information to our community, our entrepreneurs. The Spanish application is fantastic. So thanks to HFLA, as the majority of our clients specifically, even though we have a big H and the majority of our clients are Hispanic, not all of our clients are Hispanic, but yes, a lot of them speak Spanish. So that's great to know and to have that information. So thank you both. And so now we are going to move forward into the presentation on reopening business. As we combat this COVID-19 and, some of us have been forced to close, some of them are at reduced hours, some of us are working remotely, such as HBC. I'm sure ECDI and HFLA is doing the same. As you can see, we are all working remotely, and it's because we are working and doing whatever we can to maintain and continue to deliver services no matter what. And it's specifically, or especially at this time where so many people are in great need. So thank you, Katie and Jasmine. It looks like we have one more question here, and it just disappeared. So
thanks, Randy.
Let me remove this. Thank you so much, Jasmine and Katie. Thank you. When you're ready, Maria, you can start the presentation. All righty. So business as usual. Let's go to the next slide, Maria. So the first thing we need to know is that you are not alone. We are not alone. Every single business has felt the effects of this pandemic. Honestly, most of us have felt the negative side of this global pandemic, but a few have flourished, and businesses and I know this for a fact, toilet paper manufacturers have definitely benefited, because I've been to a couple of stores and there is no toilet paper. I don't understand why, but that's what it is. Platforms such as Zoom entertainment platforms like Netflix, Hulu, internet providers. I recently switched internet providers. And so all these businesses are flourishing. And so there is a good and a bad side to this pandemic. But the reality is for most of us, we have been forced to scale back. And like I mentioned, some of us have been forced to close our businesses such as barbershops, salons, childcare centers, restaurants, bars, and the list goes on and on and on. And to make matters worse, events are being canceled. For example, I shared this, I think in one of our last webinars. I have a family member who was forced to cancel her baby shower. And because of having to shut down this baby shower, the hall lost profits, the caterer lost profits, the DJ lost profits, the bartender lost profits, the decorator lost profits. So everyone is being affected by what we are currently living. And the reality is, like I said, if we haven't closed, we have reduced our operating hours. And here's the bottom line. We are all feeling the effects. Somewhere, somehow, we are all feeling the effects. And as a result, our sales have dropped. We have laid people off. Millions have filed for unemployment. I worked with a client who has been in business no more than 6 months and was forced to lay off all of her employees. And now, because of the requirements for PPP and some of the funding that she has applied for, she has quickly rehired to make sure she complies with the loan requirements. Now, with all that's going on, we are still doing our best to keep ourselves sane, our families fed, our business doors open, our employees paid, and making sure that our customers are safe and happy. So no, you are not alone. Everyone is feeling the pain, and many of us have lost a lot of sleep over this. Next slide, Maria, please. And so according to the book of Randy R. Cedeno, that is me, the definition to the word entrepreneur is a person who takes risks, makes sacrifices, and is creative. Remember, in good and bad times, we must remember to be a true entrepreneur who takes risks, makes sacrifices, and be creative. At this point in time, what worked yesterday, and I think we all have gotten a dose of reality on this, what worked yesterday may not work today and may not work tomorrow. But honestly, I strongly believe that these setbacks make us much, much stronger. You see, we are positioned in a place to shine because we've already faced the unknown. Think about it. When you first started this business, rather you started it from the ground up or you seized an opportunity to take over a business, you took a risk, right? And so you went into the unknown. And so I believe that these setbacks make us stronger because we already faced the unknown previously. So now that we're in this position where we have to, or the nation and the state, it's about to reopen, or, you know, we're having all these discussions about reopening. When should we reopen? Are we going to reopen? Whatever happens, whatever date anyone puts or any government puts, the reality is you are going to reopen your business. And the reality is as well is that we need the economy to open for the sake of sustaining our businesses and for progress. So no matter what, we're going to open, and you guys are, I'm sure you guys are connected today because you guys are ready to reopen. And so with reopening, we're going to have to restart a lot of systems that we shut down abruptly. And we need to start planning today if you haven't already. Maria, next slide, please. The first thing we want to do, we want to understand is the CDC guidelines for COVID-19. This is the absolute beginning. And as you can see, I put the link on the screen as well. This next information all came from Center for Disease Control, the CDC website. Number one, identify a workplace coordinator who will be responsible for COVID-19 issues and their impact at the workplace. For most of us, that is you and I. the owner operator of his business. Number two, examine policies for leave, telework, or working remotely from home, for example, very much what we are doing, HBC is doing, and your employee compensation. Leave policies should be flexible and non-punitive, which means you're not inflicting or intending punishment on your employee. That is important. Remember, COVID-19 is not their fault. It is not your employee's fault that COVID-19 is, creating havoc for us. Also allow sick employees to stay at home and away from coworkers. These leave policies should also account for employees who need to stay home with their children if there are school or child care closures or to care for sick family members. So remember, it's not just your employee who is sick. There's other issues that you have to take in consideration. When possible, use flexible hours or staggered shifts to help establish policies and practices for social distancing, maintaining distance approximately 6 feet. This is important, people. Maintain distance of 6 feet between employees and others. Review your leave policies with all employees and provide information about available employee assistance services, whether you or the government offer them. That's important. Share information on steps they can take to protect themselves at work and at home. You also want to identify essential employees and business functions and other critical inputs such as raw material suppliers, subcontractors, service products, any logistics required to maintain business operations. You want to explore ways to continue business operations if there are any disruptions, which most of us have already experienced. And we're going to go a little more in detail with this shortly here. We want to prepare business continuity plans for significant absenteeism, supply chain disruptions or changes in the way you need to conduct business. Also, establish an emergency communications plan. We want to identify key contacts, chain of communications. This includes not only your customers, but your suppliers and employees, a process for tracking and communicating about business and employee statuses. For most of us who are small businesses, this would be a combination of text messages, emails, social media, phone calls, Teams, as our office has been using very heavily, which is a Microsoft platform. And lastly, share your response plans with employees and clearly communicate expectations. That's important. Communicate as leaders, because that's what an entrepreneur is. We need to make sure that we are communicating effectively and clearly, and make sure you clearly communicate what the expectations are. It's important for employees to know our plans for COVID-19, and we'll go a little more deeper into that in a second as well. Next slide, Maria, please. So our reality is we don't have an exact end date for the pandemic. And more importantly, we don't have a date in which customers will feel confident enough to return to your place of business. Please understand that we don't have a date in which your customers will feel confident enough to return to your place of business. So first thing we need to do is, and I've shared this in every single webinar I've been in, is make sure to defer whatever you can. Defer. Defer whatever you can now. Loans, rents, utilities, creditors, and any bills you can delay today. I have a client whose landlord temporarily deferred their monthly rent by 50%. I also have a couple clients whose landlords have deferred, 1 month of rent. So every little bit helps, whether it's a full amount, a little amount, if it's 25%, every little bit helps. Some SBA loans have unilateral relief, which means that some SBA loans are or can be deferred for at least 6 months. And now I don't want to go too deep into this because we've covered this subject a lot, and we are not the only ones who have covered this subject. But I do want to give a quick recap. If you don't have an SBA loan, I hope you have already reached out to your lenders. The EIDL, which is the Economic Entry Disaster Loans, those funds have been fully depleted. Also, the first round of Paycheck Protection Program, which is PPP, Those funds have also been depleted. Now, Congress just approved another $321 billion for a second round of Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, on Wednesday, which will likely deplete very quickly as well. And as we have heard some banks taking customer information, or some banks are taking customer information and practically creating a waiting list. If you are in need of capital and have not applied for anything, I am telling you right now, you are way behind. Nonetheless, PPP is not the only solution, and the IDL as well is not the only solution. And on our website and our Facebook page, we have multiple resources for capital, such as ECDI, who is just online, the KIVA, HFLA. There's quite a few different platforms or organizations that we can work with. So it's not the end of the world. There's still some solutions, but you need to get the ball moving if you have not already. At this time, you need to make sure that we are frugal and not making any unnecessary purchases. This is not the time to buy new toys and gadgets unless the return on investment outweighs the cost. For example, if you lack a cashless point of sale or a POS system, this may be the time to explore your options. For restaurants, if you don't have a delivery system, this may be the time to look into like an on-demand delivery service, such as DoorDash, who is currently offering a free sign-up and 0 commissions for 30 days through the end of April. And this is not a deferral of fees. No real merchants be asked to pay anything back. So, be creative. Look at what options are out there. Look at, what is available. What platforms are you not on currently? Also, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Look at what other people or other entrepreneurs in your industry are doing as well. You can learn from other people. And also, we want to create a revised budget. We want to assess the situation, or you want to assess your situation and create a revised budget for the remainder of the year. Keep in mind that this budget will help you assess the overall effect of the pandemic, the pandemic's effect on your business. Let's assume that you will reopen on May 1st. You want to make sure that you are conservative in your first month or your quarter, depending on how you run your accounting system. And in addition, there will be unanticipated concerns popping up due to supply chain deficits, financial issues, staffing changes, and other unforeseen issues. So be conservative, be frugal, and always remember, a positive cash flow will keep your doors open. And so reduce your costs and do your best not to compromise your quality. Reduce your costs. This is your fixed and your variables wherever you can. And make sure to do your best not to compromise the quality of your product and or services. Maria, next slide, please. Communicate with your customers frequently. Communicate. Let customers know you are open and that you are taking all the necessary steps to ensure safety across the board. If you're not open, let them know when is your target date to open. And I've used this data here. The influencer agency in Los Angeles, California, analyzed more than 7.5 million Instagram posts and found a 76% increase in daily accumulated likes on Instagram posts since the pandemic shut down. This is just Instagram, folks. We are connected more than ever through social media platforms. So use your social media platforms to let customers know what you're doing to keep serving them during the pandemic, or what your target reopening date is, if you have one. Also, educate your customer on the roots of your product or service, and or give them the story behind your product or service, or the story behind your company, or how you started this, or how this came about. Just make sure that you don't sound overly salesy. It's a huge turnoff for most people. And a ballpark figure for social media is that for every one sales pitch that you put out, you should have at least 4 to 6 pieces of engaging content. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. For every one sales pitch you put on social media, you should have at least 4 to 6 pieces of engaging content. This may be posing a question for your followers to answer. This may be putting out the information about your product, just as we talked about earlier. Whatever you do, make sure you put adequate engagement content before you put that sales pitch in. Now, here's another point that I've been hitting very hard lately, and is that we all know we are currently living in polarizing times. For example, your agreement or disagreement with our current president shouldn't be a subject of discussion on your daycare, commercial cleaning business, food business, consultation or construction business, accounting business, and whatever other business Facebook page you have, or Instagram page, or whatever platforms you're on. Unless your business offers a political product or service, stay away from this. You can do and say whatever you want on your personal space. Just make sure your personal page does not overshadow your business page. Here's the bottom line. If we are in business to make money. In Spanish, dinero. We're in business to make money. And as wise business owners, we have a target market, but our doors are still open to anyone, regardless of political, religious, or any other affiliation. So leave that to the side. Forget about the political craziness that's going on, rather left, rather right, rather center. Don't worry about that. Right now, we need to focus on our business, our products, our services, and how are we delivering that to our client, and making sure that our clients, it feels safe, that our client still perceives us as in a great light. We need to focus, or razor sharp focus, on that specifically. Now, lastly, email is still the best way to communicate with clients, bar none. So I hope you all have your email list. And if you have a POS system like Square, this is going to be very easy for you. So you're going to want to use this to shoot customers an email, let them know what you're doing to keep serving them during the pandemic. You can, or for some of you, you can also send coupons or send email to customers within a 5-mile radius. And this is an idea that I put out to a couple clients. Put an email out to people who live within 4 miles of your place, of wherever your business is at, and offer free delivery. Do whatever you can to be as creative as possible. Maria, next page, please. Stay in touch with your employees. Trustworthy, loyal, knowledgeable employees are your most important assets. Remember that. Trustworthy, loyal, knowledgeable employees are your most important asset. As this pandemic runs its course, I suggest you stay in touch with your employees on a regular basis. Assuming your employees were laid off, or you simply told them you want them back as soon as we return to normal, you don't want to run the risk of losing employees permanently to a competitor or to another industry. Now, let's be real. If hourly wage earners need a job, and this would be me if I was in the position, you can bet they're going to do whatever they have to do to put food on their table and feed their families. That's a bottom line. So when you reopen, they may not be available to return and work for you. Some may choose to stay with the new employer, or see this as an opportunity to do something completely different. So honestly, in times of crisis, loyalty only goes so far. We need to understand that, right? So they may love our company, they may love you, they may have done work for you for a long time, but when it's time to take care of their families or take care of whatever they have to take care of, loyalty may not mean a whole lot at that moment. They're going to survival mode, and so they're going to make the decisions that they have to make, and we have to completely respect that. Now, there are many ways to keep the lines of communication open with your employees. Utilize email. We've already talked about this. Video conferencing. We at our office have been using video conferencing on the daily. Phone calls. And you know what? Keep them posted on the status of your company. Discuss this possibility of working from home. Post your sick leave and other relevant HR policies, whatever they may be. And I think that's a whole different topic that we're going to have to create a webinar for, which is HR policies. Be flexible as your finances permit. Reassure them that We are all in this together, and we will outlive COVID-19, because that's a reality. We will still be here when COVID is gone, or at least reduced or severely reduced. So communicate, communicate, communicate. Staying in touch with employees on a regular basis shows that you care. And it also sends a message that you want them back as soon as you reopen for business. Next slide, Maria. Communicate with vendors. The global pandemic has and will, if it hasn't already, impact supply chains across the globe. You have to think about travel restrictions. You have to think about workforce absenteeism. And the financials will all affect our supply chains. So prepare for supply chain contingencies. Vendors who we normally buy from may not reopen at the same time you do, or may not be at full capacity when you open. So now is a good time to keep in touch with your current vendors. You want to see how their operations are going. And also, this may open up a door to new relationships that could be business life-saving when you're ready to reopen. So another idea to consider is partnering with other businesses to share a vendor contract. This is called co-opetition. Co-opetition, competitors cooperating. This is a very common practice. It's more common than you think. This will make your order larger and higher priority to the supplier. It may help reduce the cost of goods. So think about that, and partner up with your competition. And you guys may be able to reduce both of your costs. As I always advise my clients, at the very least, you should have a short list of 3 suppliers. Your number 1 supplier should have your preferred material at the best price possible. Your number 2 supplier should have your preferred material at a slightly higher price. And your 3rd supplier is usually the most expensive, but can deliver today. It is also a good time to touch base with your banker and talk about any new products or services or incentives that may be beneficial to you. And you can also use this opportunity to reinforce those relationships with your business bankers. This is a detail that has benefited many, many, many businesses when it came time to understanding and clearing up PPP confusion from bank to bank in the last couple of weeks. Also, you can talk to your insurance agents to discuss your coverage and see if you have any insurance in place to cover business interruptions and losses or whatnot. So communicate with your vendors. I hope you've all communicated early with your creditors and landlords and deferred as much as possible. But if you have not, and you anticipate problems with paying rent, utilities, credit cards, etc., whatever it may be, and I've had at least 3 clients talk to me about that, they need assistance now and they're way behind, then you need to make these phone calls as soon as we're done with the seminar. Remember, no one benefits by you going out of business. No one, no bank, no suppliers, no one benefits with you going out of business. So communicate with your vendors. Next slide, Maria, please. Now is the time to work on meaningful planning that will positively impact your business going forward. This will help you build a stronger, more valuable company. So use this opportunity to refresh, reinvent, and or make your business more relevant to the times. What do I mean with make your business more relevant to the times? I am so glad you asked. This is key. Perceptions of your business, and in our world we call this your brand. Perceptions of your business are shaped by the way your company interacts with customers, keeps up with current product or service expectations, and whether customers feel truly connected to what you are doing. So remember that your brand, your business, your brand can shape the way people perceive, the way you interact, how you produce, and what the expectations are. So operating your business without considering what your customers want, or more importantly, what they believe about your brand, can put you on a fast track to vanishing into obscurity. Remember that. It is important to make sure that you stay on brand. Stay on brand, stay on brand. So What am I saying? Know who your ideal customer is, which I hope you do already. Know who your market is, know how to deliver to them, and understand that whatever you do publicly will affect how they perceive your business. And so to remain viable, to remain as viable businesses, we need to be prepared. So we need to work diligently. And remember, we are definitely going to survive COVID-19. We're going to get over this. Now, I am way over my time, so I am going to cut it right here. There's a lot more we can cover. There is a whole field for HR that I think we're going to do a webinar on that, so stay posted. But I am going to cut it off here so that we have enough time for Q&A here. Does anybody have, let me turn this on. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, doubts at the moment? And feel free to add it to the Q&A on the bottom of the screen. I'll give you a minute here. So plan, plan, plan. And to the first point, the CDC has great information on their website. The link is on the first slide. Maria will be sending this out to you shortly. There's also the PDFs that you can print out and you can put and post all over your location, your office, your store, whatever it may be. And so you want to make sure that not only your employees or your staff know what the protocol is. You want whoever is coming in through those doors, rather it's customers, rather it's like a UPS delivery person or FedEx or whatever it may be, you want to make sure that they understand what the protocol is. Okay, we do have a question. Is there a link to apply to the latest economic relief package Congress approved? So great question. Thank you, Mary. The answer is that the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, you can only solicit this, you can only procure this at your lender. So you have to go to your lender, whether it's US Bank, which is probably the most popular bank our clients use. There's Chase, there is Dollar, there is KeyBank. Whatever your lender is, you're going to want to go to them. Not all of them are accepting any information at all. Some very few are actually creating like a waiting list for this next package. Now that on Wednesday, the Congress or US Congress actually approved the extra excess of $300 billion in funds, they may have already started reopening, but the reality is the amount of people who applied will most likely use up the $320 billion that have been approved. Nonetheless, still reach out because you have no idea what's available. Other resources that are also available, PayPal, QuickBooks, and there is one more that I cannot remember at the moment, but those are two other platforms I've had at least 2 clients apply through QuickBooks. So you have to go through your lender, Mary. So thank you so much for that question. Suzanne Smots, hola, ¿cómo estás? Are you scheduling virtual appointments for business owners who want to consult with you? What's the easiest way to do this? Yes, so our offices are still open, even though our physical office is not open. We are open for business, and we are definitely still working with clients on a daily basis. So we are currently all on phone call or teleconference or video conferencing. So yes, we are the best way because, as most of you guys know, Jahaira controls all of our calendars. So the best way to getting a hold of us or having a personal consultation is to reach out directly to our office, and Jahaira will answer your phone call. If Maria, if you put the next slide, it will have our contact information there. It has our phone number. It also has our main email that goes directly to Jahaira, as well as it has my email contact there. So my email is R as in Randy, C as in Cedino, at hbcenter.org. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, we have a long one here. Let me read this. Okay, Nick Donnell, thank you. Tyson Vines mentioned that PayPal has been processing PPP as well, and they are doing it fairly fast. Yes, this is true. Not sure how accurate the information is, but currently vetting it. Also, the National Development Council, NDC, is now accepting Paycheck Protection Program applications. That is exactly what I was thinking about. Thank you so much, Nick. This is a great opportunity. If you are a business that has not been able to gain access to PPP because you do not have pre-existing relationships with a bank, NDC is not a depository lender, so this requirement should not apply. I believe we have an NDC representative coming in next week. I can't remember. So stay posted, stay connected to Facebook. We will have all the information there as well. Also, if you need help putting the application together, there is a free NDC webinar. Oh, there you go. So you beat me to the punch. Free MDC webinar here that walks through the process of the application. So thank you so much, Nick, for bringing that in. We also have a couple more here. Let me see if I can catch up. Thank you so much for your thorough commitment to help everyone. You're awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Carolina, my apologies. Okay, Nick. Okay, so Nick, you posted in 2 places. Thank you so much. All right. And I think that is it. Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Anything we can answer for you now, or something you'd like us to go a little deeper in? We actually have 2 minutes here. Well, if that is all, I want to, oh, we have another one. Let's see here. Mary, is there a platform for small business to network with each other? We've gotten this question on every single webinar. Yes, the reality is, as business owners, we need to make sure we're moving and doing the research. We have chambers of commerce, we have Facebook groups, we have community groups, we have community development corporations that do this. So specifically for the people inside of Cleveland. And if you're my client, you know that I always talk about community development corporations. They are a great and huge asset to your business. These are all different platforms that you, or different people and organizations that you want to reach out to. And so if you need some more clarification, Mary, we can have a conversation offline, and I can direct you to whatever works best for you. Suzanne Small says, is the Hispanic Chamber able to create a Facebook or other platform? If you mean creating another Facebook page, I don't think so. We do have a Facebook page. If you mean creating for networking, you know what? That's a great idea. Maria is the best person to have a conversation or to talk to about this. So Maria, I know she's listening. And so this is something we'll definitely take to the table. If we have not implemented, it may be something we can implement and work on. So, but remember, networking is nothing if you're not networking. You have to move. If you request it and you want to be a part of it, or you're talking about it and say, hey, we should do this, we should do that, but you don't participate, it makes no sense. So participation is key. You have to move. You have to network. You have to meet up at the networking events. And you know what? At every single networking event that we host and that I have been to, I always come out with something new. I always learn something new about one of the businesses. I learn something new of a method, of a platform that they're using, or, you know, you get a really good, solid understanding of where the community is at, or where is the market at. And you'd be surprised, you know, where I learn a lot is from industries that I am not acquainted with at all. So there is so much to learn from other businesses and other industries that you wouldn't be able to find this or take in this knowledge without networking. So You know, when we post something out for networking, come on in, join. You have nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose. On the opposite, you have everything to gain, because if you gain one nugget of knowledge, I believe it's worth it. That's me. Not only that, one thing that I always, and whoever's my client in on this webinar will know that you never know where your next contract is coming from. You never know who that is. You may talk to someone today that in 6 months down the line, a contact of theirs is contacting you by a recommendation of that person you first met. So networking, and as I always say, is life. If you're in business, networking is life. And if you're not networking, you should not be in business. So do whatever possible to network. Okay, we are beyond our time. Do we have any other last questions or concerns? And I think I covered these last ones. So I'm going to close it here. I'm going to be respectful of your time. I want to thank every single one of you for hanging in there with us. Remember, we are here to support you as much as we can. We are a free resource. Feel free to reach out to us. We will do whatever we can to help you throughout this whole pandemic and beyond this pandemic, because as business, there's always something happening, right? So we're here to support you. We're here for you. Remember, you're not alone. We are here with you. Other entrepreneurs who are on this webinar is also here with you. And so, you know, keep your head up, release whatever it is that is bothering you, and remember that nothing should hold you back. If something's holding you back, you need to break through that. So you need to go through that barrier, whatever that ceiling is, you need to break through that ceiling and make that ceiling your new floor. There is no choice on this. You have to keep moving forward. So remember what my definition of what an entrepreneur is. It is a person who takes risks, makes sacrifices, and is creative. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, stay safe. Make sure you are continually practicing adequate physical social distancing. That's important. All right, take care and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.